Hello and welcome back to GG Weekend Watch. We're covering day 2 of the Cheltenham Festival 2022 now. Again, plenty of competitive races to dive into. I will be doing so in the company of Daryl Carter and Andrew Mount yet again. So we shall begin with our first race on day 2. This is the Ballymore Novices Hurdle Grade 1 contest over 2 mile 5. Pretty open race. I'm still not entirely sure which horses are exactly going where. Have to stay tuned for that, but it is open as a result then. So Andrew, starting with you, please, your assessment of the Ballymore.
Sir Gerhard probably wins. He looks like he's going for this race now. He's about 11 to 10 even money at the time of recording. Everything that I was thinking of taking him on with each way, like Ginto seems to be going for another race now. I think that one's going for the Albert Bartlett. He's 4 from 4 left-handed. I thought he'd have a good each-way chance, even against the favourite, but he's out to 33 on the exchanges. I imagine he's not going to run. That's a fairly obvious statement. So, yeah, probably the favourite for me. Would I back him at that price? Maybe not. Maybe stick him in a few multiples. Look for something bigger on the day. I am Maximus. I was half interested in for the Coral Cup, given Nicky Henderson's good record in that race, but he does seem to be fairly short for this now, about 20 to 1, 25 to 1. So maybe if he handles the preliminaries better than he can do on occasions, I Maximus might be able to sneak into the frame.
Yeah, you say he is a bit of a fizzy type of a horse, really, isn't he? But if he can then run into a place at each way, that is going to be a good way to go. Daryl, Sir Gerhard, he is pretty short now. We're pretty sure this is the way he's going to go. Is he unbeatable on that basis?
I don't know if he's unbeatable. I mean, he's obviously a very, very good horse, but this is 2 mile 5. He has been running over 2 miles. Every winner, put it this way, every winner in the last 10 years, at least in the last 10 years, has run over 2.5 miles before winning this race. Yeah. And he hasn't done that. I don't know. It's a difficult. I was dead keen on taking him on because he's a 7-year-old as well. 7-year-olds have got a poor record in this race. So I thought the negatives were there to take him on. But, it's a very depleted field to take him on. I have had an each-way bet in this before the next stage where a lot of horses are going to come out because Ginto's not going to run here. Colonel Mustard's not going to run here. Dice Like Dynamo's not going to run here. Kilcrut's not going to run here. Ramillies is probably going to go to the Albert Bartlett. State Man probably won't go here. The Nice Guy could go here. 3 Stripe Life and What Do You Want are going here. So we could have 8 runners in this.
Yeah.
So I backed Stage Star each way. I know it's a British runner, but I don't think he's done anything wrong. I think he's obviously a Grade 1 shallow hurdle winner. He's run over the trip. I think he'll really enjoy a stiff finish at Cheltenham as opposed to Bravemansgame last year. I think this horse stays really strongly. He improved his figures on both his starts at Newbury. I know the form is not worth a lot, but he's run some decent times and he has won, by 7.5 and 6.5 lengths going away both times. I feel like he's a real solid each-way option if the favourite bombs out. I'm not going to say and get all my high horse and start saying he can't win because he's a 7-year-old. He can't win because he's never run over the trip. He's obviously a very good horse. But if he does bomb out, then I think Stage Star is going to be there or thereabouts to try and pick up the pieces. So,
just one thing on the each way punting, it might be worth sort of doing that now before the final decks because we only had 7 runners last year. If you bet each way now, non-runner, no bet, you're going to get those 3 places, and it could easily be 6 or 7 runners on the day.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did yesterday because of that factor, and I'd advise backing him each way now.
Yeah, get on it now then, in case we do have a depleted field, which is sort of a nature of a few of the races we have at the festival. But bring on the 5th day. I'm sure it will be a wonderful addition to the current festival. But that is very good then with Stage Star and sure his stablemate then Bravemansgame, who managed to win the Challow before running in the Ballymore last year, still managed to finish 3rd. But as you say, we did have a depleted field then, so that may well happen again. So get on him now if you did want to side with him each way or any each way horses. Therefore, we will move on to the next race. This is the 2:10. This is the Brown Advisory Novices Chase at Grade 1, then over 3 miles, where we have the aforementioned Bravemansgame in here taking on Ahoy Senor yet again. So Daryl, back to you, please, for this race.
Yeah, this is very, very good. I'll just mention that Paul said last night if Galopin Deschamps decides to go here, now we all know he's more than likely going to go to the Turners, But if he decides to go here, then they wouldn't mind dropping back in trip and taking on Bob Ollinger if there was nothing else to take him on with. That's obviously a last resort, I think. And just to also mention that Oscar Elite, who a lot of people fancy for the Ultima, which I don't think he'd get in anyway, he is going to be running in this race, according to Joe Tizard last night. This is a cracking race. Ahoy Senor, I think, is going to go from the front. He could be very, very hard to catch. He's a really good horse. I've changed my opinion of him so many times, but I think he's a very, very good horse. The slight concern I'd have with Ahoy Senor is that this track, we're always sort of turning left on this old course, and there are, I think I counted six fences which are pretty much on a bend or just before a bend, and he does jump slightly out to the right.
Yeah.
So that could be a concern, that he's always trying to get back over and get to the front, just because they're where the fences are positioned. So that would be a slight concern for me. And he has got a mistake in him. And the downhill fence, I think, free from home could be a real issue for him. But, you know, I can also see him being very hard to catch if he does pull his jumping together. So he's an interesting horse, perhaps one for your sort of in-running betting. Bravemansgame, I love him. I love the way he jumps. I love how clever he is. We've mentioned it time and time before, both me and you, Kate.
Yeah.
And the slight concern I've got with him is getting up the hill. And Paul admitted that himself, that there's a slight concern about him getting up the hill, and he doesn't know. He is a bigger, stronger, physically and mentally horse this time around than he was in the Ballymore last year. But it's still, I'm still just worried that all of his good work this season has come on flat tracks, and I don't know how much has been left in the tank. So for that reason, I'm going to side with Presse, and hopefully he can outstay Bravemansgame if Ahoy Senor's jumping goes to pot. But Ahoy Senor's jumping for me will need to go to pot for him to be beaten. I'll make that very clear. But Presse, I just think he's very straightforward. I think he's open to improvement going up to this distance. I know Brown Advisory winners have normally run over the trip, etc. But I think he's a very, very good horse. I like the fact that he's had a sighter at the fences this year as well, running over the Turner's trip. And I can't wait to see what's actually under the bonnet from Presse, because he will find and find and find.
Yeah, he will do. I mean, Venetia Williams hasn't thrown us some curveballs, has she? Which is just, it's put me off every single one of them now, because all of the races I thought her horses were going to, none of them are going to those races. Daryl, just quickly, did Paul say anything about Bravemansgame with the wind? Because I didn't realise, but that Harry Cobden had come back after the Ballymore last year and said his wind caught him up the hill. Did Paul say anything last night about his wind being better this year or anything like that?
No, he didn't. But someone else mentioned that to me as well. That he was a bit of a windy. It's a bit of a not wind issue, but it's just a bit fragile, I think. He didn't mention anything. That wasn't. He did just say that the only doubt in the back of his mind is whether the track suits him.
Yeah.
Look, I can see him winning King George after King George at Kempton, you know, but I don't know. I don't think he's as certainty as many people think he is, and.
So you're going to try and, like, say, take him on if Ahoy Senor's jumping stands up, but Presse then at his price to get the trip. Andrew, your play.
Yeah, fascinating race, and one I could quite happily sit out and just watch and enjoy. Interesting what Daryl says about Bravemansgame. You know, the trainer says he thinks his horse might not be suited by the track, or it's a worry. So when you're looking at 2-1, just think, do you want to take such a short price about a horse with a doubt like that? Cracking individual, though he is, I can leave him alone at the price. Presse was one I was very keen on for the 2.5 mile race. I mean, they were running over 2 miles with this one less than 12 months ago. I think it was April last year. He won over 2 miles at Chepstow. I mean, he's wonderful. We all love this horse. We all seem to tip him every time he runs on Weekend Watch this season.
Yeah.
And I mean, to hate the right-handed track at Sandown last time and still win a Grade 1 race by half the track was quite something. Going back left-handed again is going to suit. Coming to Cheltenham, I think if I was having a bet, I'd probably rather take a chance on his stamina and back him than back the favourite. Galopin Des Champs, we're expecting to run elsewhere. Ahoy Senor, like many others who I've discussed this race with, I am worried about his jumping, perhaps more so than the track. He's a wonderful horse when he gets into a rhythm. He was so impressive at Newbury, but does he need that sort of, he won well at Atria, of course, last year. Does he need a flatter track? Is it all going to be sort of, will we look ahead and, a year or two and think, yeah, it's all Newbury, Aintree, Kempton form, will Cheltenham suit? Possibly not. And again, at 5-1, 11-2, you can, just watch the race and let him go on back if he does win. Dusart is one that I was keen to bet on wherever he ran at Cheltenham. Not sure where he's going to end up. He's about 20-25 for this. He's a fascinating horse. He's had 2 runs over fences, both right-handed, both jumping out violently to his left every time, but still winning, albeit in Mickey Mouse races. There was a school of thought that, maybe the plan was the Ultima, but they couldn't get that 3rd run into him for whatever reason, so he's got to go the novice route. I mean, bear in mind, last season he had 2 runs over hurdles. He won first time up at Newbury, beat Soaring Glory into second, who went on to win the Betfair hurdle. Didn't see him for several months. He rocked up at Aintree in Grade 1 company. He's finished a close-up 3rd at a big price. That was the last time he's gone left-handed. There's going to be chunks of improvement to come when he goes left-handed over fences for the first time. Which race that will be in, I don't know. But, do consider Dusart at a big price if he does run here. But yeah, Isabelta and Capodanno is the latest mover, unseated at Leopardstown last time out. But there's a lot of love in the markets for that one at the moment, around about 7 or 8-1. But I'll go sort of, long Presse for the purpose of this video. But I will be back in Dusart.
Oh, the lads both going long Presse then, which is making me pretty concerned because I was pretty solid on Bravemansgame until they both opened their mouths. So thanks for that, guys. Hopefully Bravemansgame, hopefully any sort of wind issue won't impede him and he can get up the hill and he can get into that rhythm and show just his wonderful jumping yet again then for me. But both of the lads going for a bigger play than in the Brown Advisory. The 250 is the Coral Cup handicap hurdle, this Grade 3 over 2 mile 5. Wide open, as you tend to expect. Andrew, you surely got a big play in this.
No, I mean, it's a tricky one. It's one of these races where you look back over the years and think, yeah, I can't actually remember when I last backed the winner of this. And,
Yeah.
You've gone through spells where 5-year-olds can't win and then they have the first 4 home one year. You've gone through spells that can't win from the front and then Heaven Help Us does what
Heaven
she
help
did
us,
last year.
yeah.
I mean, Nicky Henderson has got a good record, so certainly from a place pot perspective, do consider, or each way, do consider his horses. We've mentioned I Am Maximus already, but he's got other entries. Of those near the head of the betting, Unexpected Party is a horse that's really frustrated me this season, but I still think he's got something in hand from the handicapper, despite having gone up £12 for that Ascot win last time out. I was really keen on it, Weatherby the time before. I think he's traded about 100-1 on and got caught. And before that, he should have won here at Cheltenham behind Gal Road when Bridget Andrews had nightmare, held him up off a steady pace, gone round the inside in the swamp. But yeah, Unexpected Party, given Dan Skelton's record in handicaps at Cheltenham, might be able to upset the Irish. Of the Irish, again, watch the market. But I am quite interested in ASHDALE Bob for Jessica Harrington if he comes here. Raced on the slowest part of the track in his prep race, and I looked at her record this century in handicap hurdles at Cheltenham. Horses with a sort of realistic chance, 16-1 or shorter in the market. She's only had 16 of them, 4 won and 4 placed. So ASHDALE Bob around 25-28 at the moment, but if the money comes from that one and he ends up in here, I thought he'd go well at the price.
Yeah, definitely. So there you go. There's the price then for Andrew. After all, Daryl, yourself for the Coral Cup.
Yeah, this is one of the races I mentioned before where I do need to see the final fields. I need to see what's coming out and what's not. I've been keen on Unexpected Party for a good while. They must think they've got some horse here in Unexpected Party to win the. They normally plot their horses for handicaps, does Dan Skelton.
Yeah.
Look at Westcourt, and then he goes out at Ascot and he absolutely bolts up and gets a £12 rise in the handicap. So they must think they've got some horse here, if that's the case. There are some nice horses. I mean, I gave a good mention to Drop the Anchor a couple of weeks back. Our bloody colleague Kevin Blake has seemingly crushed the price on him now.
Yeah,
around 7-1 now, favourite. I think. I'm still pretty keen on him. I think he'll go very well. He's been crying for the step up and trip. But I do just need to see what lands in here, really. Sorry, I know this is a preview, but I can't be more help, really.
No, but of all the races, the Coral Cup is the one. But the Coral Cup and the Martin White.
Sorry, can I just throw one over into the mix we'll be familiar with? Don Levant, who tends to get going when the race is all but over and did run in this race last year. I think he was 8th or 7th, something like that. So, he'll be sort of plodding on at the end and might sneak into the first half dozen.
yeah, pick up some pieces therefore. And a horse I'm going to side with in here, which again, like Daryl, I don't really know if he's going to go here, so this may be an awful waste of time, is Irascible, because he is in the county, he's in the Coral, and he's in the Martin Pipe, which is basically the same race nowadays as the Coral Cup therefore. But I think you're going to get a fair price about him. We have been able to, if he does take the Coral route, because again, he ticks plenty of boxes, because horses coming into the Coral Cup on the back of just one start do have a good record. That's what Irascible has had so far this year. I remember he did finish 5th in the Supreme behind Appreciate It last year, where he was held up, which again, I'm hoping are tactics that are going to play out here. I know contrary to Heaven Help Us last year, but hopefully that will play out here. He's a £5 higher British mark, but he has got the back class, as I said then previously. So as a 7-year-old in this race, I think he's worth chancing to outrun his price, but he may not even go here. So that, as I say, that may have been a waste of time. Right, one that's definitely not a waste of time is the 3:30. This is one of the best races of the entire week. Cannot wait for this. This is the Queen Mother Champion Chase, Grade 1 over 1 mile, 7 furlongs and 199 yards. That may prove pivotal. And we have the battle between Energumene and between Shishkin. Can't wait for this. Don't forget Shishkin in there, of course, as well. Previous winners. We have every angle we could possibly want in this race. So, Daryl, Champion Chase, over to you.
Yeah, I think it's a cracker, isn't it? I think the bet in here is to back Shishkin in running, perhaps lay him at his current odds-on price if you can. I think he's actually evens on the exchange, so wait until he goes a shade of odds-on, lay him, and then back him in running, because he's going to find himself with a couple of horses in front of him and probably a bit of traffic to get through. I still think he's the best horse in the race. I thought it was a very comfortable length victory over Energumene at Ascot, despite making that bad mistake that's cost him a good bit of ground. I thought Energumene had everything in his favour there. I'll take your point what you said about the distance, the drop back in distance, but this is a horse that when he won at Gorham Park last year over 2.5 miles, that Willie Mullins was saying could go up and trip. I don't actually think the shorter distance on faster ground is actually a benefit to him at all. I think a longer trip would be more of a benefit to him. So that would just concern me. And he does slightly jump out to the right. So if you consider the ground, he might just lose going out to the right a little bit. It just worries me. I can't have Shishkin Poursoir. I know everyone's got on this bloody bandwagon at the moment. Shishkin Poursoir is a better horse than Energumene. Christ, because they've thrown Energumene at Shishkin and he couldn't beat him, they're now thinking, wow, Shishkin Poursoir must be.
Yeah.
Like, it's madness. The horse has travelled poorly the last twice. I don't care if people say, oh, I'm not reading into that. You have to. You have to read into that. He's a 10-year-old now as well. So I just couldn't have him. I think Shishkin wins. There might be a bet in here. Without Shishkin and without Energumene, Fernando Silva is 10-1. So that could just be a bit of interest. Given he's probably going to be ridden quite prominently, I would have thought in here. I don't think they'll be messing around with him. I think they'll just give it a good go. I think Shishkin, providing he doesn't get any sort of traffic and providing he gets a clear round, I think he'll take a world of beating.
Yeah, and I think that's a very fair point. And to be honest, I didn't actually want to have an opinion in this race because this is just one of these races where I just wanted to enjoy it. But because I started writing that piece about the reasons why Energumene may be able to reverse the form, and I got more and more into it. And now I feel like I'm sort of leading some sort of fan club now for Energumene to reverse the form.
To be fair, it was very, very good analysis, and it was an excellent piece. And I know what you're saying because I do exactly the same quite a lot, and you can sort of you almost lead yourself to somewhere you don't want to go, but then you start convincing you, and then once it's in your head, you can't get away from it, can you? But I agree with you. I think, like, how good was it just at Ascot just to watch that race? Like, it was unreal, wasn't it?
Yeah, we're so lucky to have seen that. Yeah.
Hopefully we get the same again. That's what all I can say for this.
Yeah, that's what I really want for this race. Is I hope we get a clear round for all of the horses, but especially for the main protagonist. No hard luck stories, and I hope that we just get the grandstand finish that racing deserves and these horses deserve more so than anything else. But because, as I say, I am sort of waving this banner now for Energumene, I feel like I've got to carry it through now. So I am going to side with him. Andrew, stop shaking your head. So I'm still going to side with him because because of the aforementioned reasons, because of the shorter trip there for the champion chase for Cheltenham as well, rather than the Clarence House was due to be run over 2 miles, 167 yards. Trip was actually 2 miles, 210 yards when taking into account rail movement. Therefore, it was 10 yards shy of 2 mile 1. This is 1 mile 7 furlongs, 199 yards, 231 yards less than the Clarence House chase then for the champion chase. So hopefully emphasis on speed, spring ground then I think will play to his advantage. Catch Shishkin when he is flat-footed coming down the hill. He might make a mistake, therefore optimal fractions therefore by Paul Townend, who will hopefully choose an Energumene and he will go on to win. Andrew, stop shaking your head. What's your opinion?
I think Shishkin will win. Will he hit a flat spot? Will he briefly look in trouble and trade at a bigger price than he currently is? I imagine he will. I mean, remember last year? When he won the Supreme, was he almost 10-1 on the exchanges? Massive drift on the day.
Yeah.
SP 6-1. So he's already out to 1.99 at the time of recording. I thought he'd probably win, and the only danger, I guess, is that he's had a hard race at Ascot 53 days ago, and maybe that will take its toll. But I thought the bet was to back Funambule Sivler each way, or to back Funambule Sivler without the favourite. I mean, Energumene, his chance of beating Shishkin, I thought, came and went at Ascot in one of the greatest races of all time. I mean, if you're trying to sell the sport, don't say anything. Just put the video of that race on and say, and then like with a caption of "This is why we like horse racing." Harry Finley described it at one of the previews I did with him as the best horse race he'd ever seen, and it's hard to argue with that. I mean, Energumene is wonderful. He's brilliant. He's top class, but he's better right-handed. Shishkin's better left-handed. If he couldn't beat him when he was allowed to dictate perfect fractions at Ascot on a right-handed track, how is he going to beat him this way round? He's probably going to get taken on for the lead as well, which he wasn't at Ascot. You've got, like Editor de Geek, for example, Politolog. You've got plenty of horses who like to go from the front. Shishkin Poursois, I know it's only a sample size of 2 when he's come across to Racing Britain, but both times he's underperformed compared to his market price. So I thought it was possible we'd get both those horses out the frame, Energumene and Shishkin Poursois, and you're left with Shishkin to beat Nube Negra, who's wonderful when fresh, only beaten half a length in the race last year, admittedly a weaker renewal. He won the Schlur Chase on his comeback, then the Tingle Creek came too soon. He's been rested since. So I thought he was an obvious each-way alternative as well. But Funambule Sivler has had 7 runs over this sort of 2-mile trip, 5 wins, 2 seconds. The latest of those second places came behind Shishkin at Aintree last year with a 14-1 shot. And there was a spell in that race where you thought, my God, he's going to win. And in the end, it was quite comprehensive for Shishkin. But he's out to 50s on the exchanges at the moment, so you're looking at sort of 20-1 perhaps without the favourite. Maybe some firms are betting each way without the favourite. If you get 9 or 10 runners, and you could finish 4th, and you'd still make a good profit as Shishkin's in the 3. So that was the way I was looking at it. But yeah, love Shishkin. I think he's wonderful. Far more straightforward than Altior, I think, in terms of hitting a flat spot and looking a bit quirky. I think he'll win, and hopefully Funambule Sivler will finish second.
Yes, both the lads then keen on Funambule Sivler to reach the frame, therefore, which is really interesting. And I will forgive Venetia Williams if his grand annual plans were foiled, therefore, if he manages to run into a place in the champion chase. But can't wait for that race. Just savour it. Just savour it as much as anything else. If that means not having a financial interest in it, then so be it. But cannot wait. The 4:10, very polar opposite race now. This is the cross country, the Glenfarclas Chase, otherwise known then as the cross country over 3 miles 6. I think this is going to shape up to be a really good race. There are plenty of top quality cross country performers when they put their mind to it, turning up here. When they put their mind to it, though, Andrew. So how do you play it?
Sorry, I think there's something wrong with my connection, because for a minute there, I thought you said this is shaping up to be a really good race.
I'm looking forward to this. I don't care what anyone says. I really think if Easy's Land can come back to himself, I love Prengarde. I think he is a monster. And of course, if Tigerol with his swan song, I think between those 3, if they are seen at their best back over their preferred discipline, I think this is going to shape up to be a nice race.
When I was bookmaking at the track, I used to refer to this race as the toilet break, because it was the only chance
Don't be so mean.
by the time you'd laid a few bets to stragglers who were coming out the bar and they'd gone a furlong, bundled up the money ready to pay out the race. This was the only one you then had a chance to go to the loo before you had to pay out. So, Tiger Roll for the horse. What will he be, a 6-time Cheltenham Festival winner? That's an incredible feat, or will be. But at the same time, part of you thinks because his owner's such a donut, you don't want him to win. But yeah, I've no strong opinion. Tiger Roll probably. At bigger prices, maybe Back on the Lash, who has won over these fences. But yeah, I'm not going to have a bet in the race. I haven't got a strong opinion. I don't want to be sort of nailing my colours to a particular mask and persuading people to part with their hard-earned cash on something that I know little about. So yeah, get out of jail free card, pass.
Yeah, or if you're there, just use the opportunity to go down and stand by the water jumper. You will not regret it, as long as you can take you away from the bar, as Andrew has just been saying. Personally, I love the race. I can't wait for this. I think that this Prengarde is an absolute monster. I was watching back his French runs then previously, and basically the only time he's been beaten over cross-country, over the cross-country courses, was when it was his first ever run in a cross-country race, and it was around Fontainebleau. And if anyone knows what the cross-country course is like there, oh, he just bless his heart. There were legs in every direction. He had no idea what to do. Far too sharp a course for him. So more of a galloping test on the other cross-country courses then in France. Just saw him to a much better effect. Real brain in his head. And he's just this gorgeous looking son of Catguard. He's like a big teddy bear. I love him. And he's joined the right trainer to be seeing him to best effect in Britain and Ireland in these cross-country races. But French cross-country form is the way I'm siding. Daryl, how do you assess this?
That Prengarde has been beating donkeys in France.
How dare donkeys that will probably kick most of ours out the way in cross-country races, all the same.
I could not have him for the life of me. I couldn't have it. I just want to say pass on this race. I just hope Tiger Roll wins for the sake of, just for the sake of the buzz it'll be on the day. But no opinion. Thank you.
Yeah, heart tells most people, including myself, Tiger Roll, if this is his last race as a 12-year-old, to sign out on the biggest high ever, it would get an almighty cheer just for the horse, more so than anything else. I would love to see that. So swiftly moving on to the 450, far more of a betting heat, therefore I'm expecting from a lads. This is the Johnny Henderson Grand Annual Challenge Cup Handicap Chase, Grade 3 handicap over a mile 7 furlongs and 199 yards, wide open. Daryl, back to you for the Grand Annual.
Yeah, love this race. Absolutely love this race. I love quite a few in it as well, which is probably the problem. I have already put up a horse called Dancing on My Own for Henry de Bromhead. This horse has got some really smart back form over hurdles in the likes of being behind some very smart horses, like a Classical Dream and etc. But he came out and he beat Buddy Rich after a 687-day layoff. Right now, obviously, this is for the Ballymore owners. This horse, so they do look a bit of a punt. Came out and he won that day, 5-4 favourite, beating Buddy Rich, who happens to be favourite for this contest today. Then they ran him behind Blue Lord at Nace, and he was just reeling under hands and heels, and it was an eye-catching run, to say the least. A lot of the fences were doled off. It was just a very eye-catching run. Mm. And then they went and ran him at Punchestown. Now, they know, you can go back and look at the comments from the trainers previously, they know that this horse jumps out to the left, right? Yeah. So they said we would never run him a right-handed course. We'll keep him going left-handed. The other thing as well with this horse is he likes to make the running. He's a very forceful front runner, and he stays a bit further than his 2 miles. And they held him up at the rear of the field that day, and it was just a sloppy fall at the finish. He was never put in the race at all. So it's just very, very interesting. The handicapper has given him a handicap mark of 143. Mm-hmm. And he is very, very lightly raced, and he could have a ton more to come. He's only £2 higher than his hurdle mark. He's actually been to Cheltenham a couple of times as well. He ran in the Coral Cup when he was beaten by William Henry over 2 miles 5, and then he ran behind Time Hill in the Ballymore trial. And he was beaten. He just doesn't stay 2 miles 5. Back down to 2 miles, I think he's got a right chance. The other one, there's a handful, but the other one I've just had a good bet on today is Red Rookie. I really like this horse. I think he's got loads in hand off his mark of 138. I think he's the horse in the field for me that could have £10 in hand. I know this is a bit different to what he's been used to, but obviously he showed plenty of promise over hurdles, and he came out at Chepstow on seasonal return over fences. And that race that I was telling GG followers who follow the column just to follow all season at Chepstow has just worked out extremely, extremely well. He finished second behind Witness Protection. He was chasing his horse home like he had been fired out of a gun, the way he was chasing this horse home. In behind him was Not Available, who's won since. In behind him was Amarillo Sky, who went off favourite that day, was off 129 then, is now obviously off 143, I think. Can You Call has won. Back in sixth was Brave Siaska. Tukey Dookie's back there in ninth. He's won a couple of races since. This horse he went off favourite next time at Ascot over Brave Siaska as well, but fell. He was going okay at the time. And then he's been to Hereford. Hereford I couldn't believe they sent him to Hereford, in all honesty. I thought, what on earth? This horse just doesn't look like the type of horse that would go around a sharp track like Hereford. He's too big for that place. And he was just held up at the rear of the field as well, as Gallis Carlo and someone else was fighting out the lead. And he looked like he was going to be tailed off. And he just appeared in the screen from nowhere and won going away. He's got up £4 for that. And I know it's not the usual route to come from like Hereford to here. Yeah. I know people have already turned their nose up a bit. But I can tell you now, this horse will love a strongly run 2 miles. He's well handicapped. He's unexposed. He's a novice. He's got loads more to come. He's around 14-1. So that's where my pins lied on them. Fell on them too.
I like that a lot. So that Chepstow form with Red Rookies 3 starts back is
unreal.
As solid as you could imagine. I've just, as you were talking, I was going through it like winner, 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 winner. Yeah, so coming from Hereford, and willing to forgive a couple of horses that have fallen. Well, he fell on his penultimate start, but also with your other bet as well. Then where's he gone? Dancing on My Own. For Henry de Bronhead, who did fall last time out, but like you say, is also pretty well treated. Big prices for the pair of those two. Andrew, can you do any better?
Yeah, Red Rookie for me. This is one I put up on my shortlist in the Racing Post Ultimate Guide, available from all good newsagents and some of the dodgy ones who sell cigarettes to kids. They're impressed by that. They're impressed by that Chepstow run, achieved in a good time. The form worked out because he came from off the pace on a track that was massively favouring front runners. He's gone to Ascot next time. I have bet him, but he's fallen in Brave Siaska's race and probably wants to go left-handed. Like you say, went to Hereford and jumped out to his left, still managed to win. So I think there's going to be plenty of improvement when he goes left-handed again. He's going to have the race run to suit. I mean, we don't know the final makeup of the field. There are lunatic front runners like For Pleasure and Editor de Geet who've got other options. But, hopefully one or two of those will be in here. And again, it's often about survival in this race. Just, my goodness, stay in contention, avoid the fallers and the carnage that's going to happen in front of you, and hopefully be there at the business end. Castle Grace Paddy was one I've mentioned. He's a veteran, but he goes extremely well when fresh. But he's running at, I think it's Navan on Saturday, the 12th of March. So I'm guessing Cheltenham's not going to be on the agenda. And Amarillo Sky was quite interesting for Colin Tizard, who's done really well since fitted with the tongue tie. 2 wins, a 4 when going like the winner, and a second to Brave Siaska at Ascot. But yeah, it's a very tricky race, but I'm really hoping Red Rookie runs here, and it looks like being a strong pace on.
Yeah, for the Brits as well. So both of the lads in agreement with Red Rookie. And I mean, now I'm going to have to weigh in with them because both of my 2 selections don't go here. Brave Siaska and Field and Age have taken, they're going elsewhere. So all of my work looking into this race was completely pointless. So why not? I'm going to wade in with you lads then with Red Rookie there in the Grand Annual. And our final race on day 2 then to be covering is the Champion Bumper Grade 1, then over 2 miles for these very lightly raced horses that we still don't know an awful lot about. Facile Vega, of course, hugely popular then at the head of the market, the second foal out of Vega. So Andrew, back to you, please. Do you side with Facile Vega? Do you have another opinion, another way into the Champion Bumper? What's your play?
I mean, if you just, if you're a fan of Racing Post ratings, it seemed like there's only 2 possible, winners here. They've got Facile Vega on 145, American Mike on 142, and you sort of £9 back to Poetic Music off 133. Redemption Day, there's been masses of love for on the panels at Cheltenham preview nights. I mean, Danny Mullins was waxing lyrical about this one, who won his Soul Stars at Leopardstown over Christmas. And again, that's often been the bumper that Mullins introduces his best ones to, and he has been the mover recently. Yeah, I've no strong opinion. I'll jump on the Redemption Day bandwagon in terms of taking on the front two, the betting. But we've seen time and time again the hype bubbles being burst in these races, and Willie Mullins wins it with his 25-1 sixth string. The British trainers seem to have given up on this race. We hardly have a runner nowadays, let alone a winner of it. Although poetic music is one who has impressed me for Fergal O'Brien. So if she does rock up here, getting the allowances, then maybe she's another one to consider each way. But no strong opinion, bit like the cross country chase, and I'll bow to your superior judgment if you fancy something in this.
Oh, geez, no, don't do that at all. No, Redemption Day was the way that I was probably playing this race, as just in the hope of that further scope for improvement. And I loved his win on that Soul Start, rather than we know more about FACILE VEGA. He's probably shown his hand that little bit more, but that's not to say Redemption Day can't do the exact same thing. But again, not an overly strong opinion from me, though. Daryl, do you have anything stronger?
Not really. I really like FACILE VEGA. I think he's very, very good. I know people keep saying that, like people are talking about him like he's hit the height of his ability. Like he could still have load more.
Yeah.
Look, you can very rarely have a strong opinion on this. I think a lot of people know more about these bumper horses, have more sort of information than I have at my hand. So I tend to not go too deep, or just to sort of steer clear. But I'll be interested to see what happens in the market, because with all the talk about Redemption Day, I think it's only going to do one thing to FACILE VEGA's price, and that's push it out. So I'll hold off and see what happens, I think.
Yeah, wait for the prices basically, therefore, between those two. And that's sort of what it was for me with Redemption Day, really. It was the prices at the current time. But now that, as Andrew says, everyone seems to be waxing lyrical then about Redemption Day, because everyone is playing the price perspective. Therefore, then that may well counteract it anyway. So yeah, wait to see how the market shapes up really for the champion bumper, should you want to get involved with those horses. So naps for day two. Andrew, I'll go back to you, please. Your nap for day two.
I'm going for Shishkin in the champion chase.
Okay, that cut deep. Okay, Daryl, your nap for day two.
I'm going to go for Red Rookie in the Grand Annual.
You have to now, to be fair, now that a pair of you have made such a good case for him. And to be honest, I am sort of left, because none of my horses I wanted to run in any of these races are going for the handicap. So it leaves me by default with Bravemansgame then in the Brown Advisory. So Daryl, back to you for your outsider of the day.
Not an outsider, but I think Stage Star. I know he's not an outsider, but he's an each way bet. I think Stage Star each way is a solid bet in the Ballymore. Yeah,
definitely. Andrew,
tempted to go for Fun and Pure Civil in the same races than that, but I'll go for Red Rookie in the Grand Annual, around about 16-1 at the time of recording.
Yeah, and I will go Irascible therefore in the Coral Cup. So that is us rounded up then for day two of our Nats, our outsiders, our bets for each race as well. Again, strong opinions. Again, some races not to have an opinion, but just see how the market shapes up therefore. The lads will be giving proper verdicts then with their columns on the build up to the races as well. So that was day two done and dusted. Stay tuned for day three.